Hi, folks. Today I am fortunate to be able to talk to a colleague who we have touched base and shared some very brief insights via Facebook. But we this is the first time we've met kind of face to face, and I think we have a lot in common, and I think we have some complementary experiences that I always enjoy sharing those, and it's a great opportunity for me to learn other ways to do the things that we both do and are invested in, feel we have some level of expertise, but of course, we're all always learning. So this is
Yeah.
my effort to learn more from my peers as well. So I would like to introduce Ave Cole, who is a fitness instructor, personal training too, I believe. Yes,
Yep.
and
Yep.
competitor and an author. And we'll get into that a little bit later. And if I've left anything off the top level resume, please feel free to share that with us now. Yes.
The only thing that I would add is a life coach. And the life coach aspect, which I'm sure you will agree, did not develop early on in my career. Never did I think that I would be a psychologist or, helping with every single aspect of somebody's life. But here I am. That's exactly what I do. So I would say personal trainer back in the day was, the thing to have, the thing to be, the person, oh my God, you got a trainer, yeah, blah. That's all gone to the wayside now, and I'm either a mentor or a life coach, basically coach. And um, I would say probably maybe just 1 or 2 years ago, somebody was chatting, we were having a conversation, and she called me an expert. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not an expert. She's like, Abe, you've been doing it for 30 plus years. You're an expert. I'm like, oh, well, okay, I guess so.
Right.
But it has morphed into so much.
Right.
Um, I have been a gym rat since I was 15. My mother brought me into the gym, early Lady Louisa Spa or something like that. Then at 18, started to get a little bit, boys and things like that. So muscles, I was always very active.
Sure.
But going into the gym, wasn't my first thought that that would happen. But yeah, I went into the gym into an old rundown one, back where I lived in Newport Richey. This is 85, 86, 87, something like that.
Yeah.
And two gentlemen who I still see at the gym these days took me under their wing
Oh,
and taught me. They taught me some bad stuff too, because, they taught me to
that's
lift
what
like
everybody
boys.
knew.
And yeah, and so I lifted like a boy for a while, and I'm the result of that now. So, but that was really the beginning that I found my niche. I found a place. I hadn't really been comfortable. I didn't, I tried, I'm all around sports, all kinds of stuff, roller
Sure.
skating, rollerblading, tennis, all kinds of stuff. But the gym, just the location, the smell, the air, the aura, the energy, all of it, and, success.
Sure. That was your
So
world. Yeah.
I couldn't do 10 push-ups to save my life. And now I do 90 in a set. So, that's of course 30 plus years later, but
Sure.
still. So uh, that took me, until 92, I want to say. And my mother got sick. She got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and she
Oh, I'm
passed
sorry.
away, 6 months later. And that lifted or brought me to the next level of urgency that my mother was not a happy girl. She did not treat her body well. She drank way too much, which I followed right in her footsteps. I remember she used to take a Dexatrim, a pot of coffee, and chiclets. Was it? I
Wow.
think it was chiclets. Yeah, she would chew the chiclets. So, because she hadn't eaten all day. And then she
Right.
would go home and make dinner and drink a box of wine.
Mm. So she was getting
And
some calories.
she was getting some calories, but she would be fairly inebriated by the time dinner rolled around, and that
Right.
was her pattern.
I'm sorry.
So by then I was married to my first husband and not happy at all and drinking way too much. But then I called it partying back then.
Right.
I went to the gym every day. I mean, he was an athlete. We worked out, but we also came home and had 6 beers a night. So
Sure.
you'll never win. You'll never
Right.
win that. So when mother got sick and then ultimately passed away, I needed to be done with first husband, who was a fairly abusive man, and a severe alcoholic. So 10
Okay.
times worse than me. He was the mean kind. I'm just not a fallen down drunk, but a happy, drink.
Yeah.
I'm still here drinking. Is
Yeah.
there something to drink? I would drink it.
Sure.
So that sense of urgency when my mother passed away was when I was like, oh crap, I have to do something about this. I can't follow in her footsteps. So
Sure.
I had, at that time, I was rollerblading 3 times a week and playing tennis
Oh,
three
okay.
times a week. Pulled a muscle in my neck, go to the
Mm.
chiropractor. I was 28, maybe 29, something like that. Go to the chiropractor, and he demands that I have nothing but stationary cardio for 6 weeks. Nothing, no tennis, no rollerblading. You go to the gym, get on that elliptical. That's all you get to do. No lifting the weights, nothing. So reluctantly, I went to Shapes, which was right up the road from where I lived,
Okay.
and I was refusing to join a gym again. So I just had a bad taste in my mouth. I like tennis, I like rollerblading. I don't need this
Yeah.
crap. I just need it for a period of time, and that's it.
Right.
So it was a woman's gym, and it was fully stocked women's gym.
Okay.
And as I started to get better, I actually loved the environment. I loved the
Good.
women. I loved watching them strive for more. And then I found myself putting blinders on because I couldn't watch what they were doing because they were doing it badly. and,
Okay.
and I started to recognize, like, wow, I know that that's not good. I know that's not good. So
Right.
little by little, they started to approach me. I started to approach them. Shapes at that time did their own in-school personal training session. So it was 6 weeks practical free
Oh, that's
that I
great.
I got to train under some of the most magnificent women I have ever met in my entire life. And they are still to this day my mentors. And I have goosebumps. They taught me everything. And they, said there is a difference between boy training and girl training, big time. And girls are not made like boys, boys are not made like girls. So you have to differentiate. And that split everybody up for me. That not just boys and girls, but everybody was an individual. Each
Sure.
person, I had this big grand scheme that my first week, I was like, everybody can do 10 push-ups, and everybody can do a pull-up, and everybody can bench 45 pounds, and everybody can do a squat. Well, I was wrong. I
Yeah,
was
of course.
very wrong.
Yeah.
And so I had to scale that back. That attitude lasted probably a week. But in any event, I did the 6 weeks of training. I got my certificate. Shapes hired me pretty much on the spot. I had a utility company where I operated water and wastewater treatment plants. And, they wanted more. I wanted more. So I worked my way out of the utility business and became a full-time trainer.
Sure.
And that was easy peasy. It's not
Yeah.
worked 30 years later. It's still not work.
Well,
I mean,
it helps if you
there
love it,
are,
right?
yeah, I do. I love it.
That's
My longest client is 15 years and she turns 50 tomorrow. So she's like,
wow.
I met you when I was 35. And I'm like, yeah, and I was 45.
Yeah.
So, shut up. Oh. But yeah, it is. It's very liberating.
Were there any insights that you've developed that sort of surprised you before, right when you were considering making this kind of a full-time gig?
Um, let's see, where am I here? Let's see. Okay. I guess I used to refer to the importance of having strength training, cardiovascular, and nutrition was a three-legged stool.
Okay.
Those three have to go. Okay. And that's how I rolled, I'd say, the first 15 years.
Okay.
Now finding out over the last 10 years, probably, that it was never a stool, it was a six-legged table, and that at any point in time, one of the six legs fails, the whole thing is going to tumble. It's just a question of when. So you could take a six-legged table and take the middle legs out and be
Right.
okay. But then you
That's a
go to put
really
something
good
on top of
analogy.
it, okay, and it's going to
Yeah.
collapse. So
Right.
the three things that were my bar stool legs were strength training, cardiovascular, and nutrition. So now I'm adding rest.
Perfect.
What am I got? Where am I? let's see. Okay, nutrition, hydration, and rest are now my first three
Okay.
because you cannot do any of the others
They're
properly
foundational. Yeah,
in
those
a
are foundational
foundational, correct.
elements.
So
Right.
it's starting with those three. So those
Right.
are my pinpoints on the table. And then comes strength training, cardiovascular, and what's my last one? Uh,
Flexibility, mobility,
Stretching.
core.
Yeah, thank you. Stretching. Yeah, stretching.
Great.
So, or yoga. I mean, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Flexibility. Yeah, flexibility training. It's probably my foremost thing that I concern myself with these days.
Okay.
Flexibility
Yeah.
and stretching is, if you're hanging with me, you're going to stretch every day. You might not have to do it in front of me, but I'm going to want you to put the video on and show me that you did it.
So you wrote a book. Tell me a little bit about
I
that.
did. I did. Life with Abe, what a ride. Um, I've always known I, I come from my father was an entertainer. He
Oh,
was
really?
my sperm donor, was an entertainer. He was an anchorman on NBC News in Boston
Oh my
in the
gosh.
60s. My mother was a hospitality queen. She was the director of sales for very large hotels
Oh,
for
okay.
most of her life. And so entertaining was, you know,
Yeah.
is what I did. I
Yeah.
entertained, and if I could get adults to pay attention to me or anybody, honestly, that's even better. So
Right.
it goes through all of my tumultuous life, which everybody has. Everybody
Yeah.
has baggage.
Sure.
However, mine is about recovery and making lemonade out of lemons. Okay, so I'm going to be a lady wrestler. The name of chapter one, and he's like, I want you to go home and do these. I'm like, no, this is it. This is what I'm doing. This is it. 1993. Mother, 180 days of bliss, 101 dresses. That I named all of the chapters while we sat
Sure.
there,
Yeah, that's great.
and in that first session, we got the first chapter done.
Wow, that's
So
great.
that the whole process started in January, I want to say, and my book was published May 15th. And
Wow.
I am
That's a
just
short
about to
journey.
recover all my money. Not, I'm about two-thirds of my money.
That's
So
great.
yeah, yeah. So it was a very, very, very good process and cathartic. Um, getting some of this stuff out and recognizing what I have been through and
Sure.
how I sit here. I'm so very blessed. I'm so very grateful. I mean, I should have been dead 100 times a long time ago. So it was have I helped people with my book? I believe so,
Yeah,
big
I'm sure
time.
that's the
Yeah.
case.
And it helped me. It was something I wanted to do, and I knew I had a story to tell.
Right.
Just how was I going to tell it? And
Right.
that's how that. So, and book two is probably going to get started next spring.
Wow,
So,
that's great. Well, anything else you'd like to share?
well, as I said, I'm a probably life coach first. I'm a Rotarian. I'm an author. Um, and I'm pretty much alone. So I don't have any children. I'm not married. I have a love interest to a certain degree, but whether or not that comes to fruition, I don't know.
Sure.
My adopted father is still here. He's 85,
Oh,
so there's
great.
that.
Yeah.
Um, it's a hard life to be a guide and an inspiration to everyone, and then do the same for yourself. So that's the
That's a
chapter I'm
really
in
good
now.
insight, right?
Is making sure my mask is on before I help others and do others.
That's
And like
oh,
my checks and balances now, holding myself accountable, I don't really have too many people to hold me accountable anymore. So
yeah.
it's got to be me. And when I get angry or, something happens that I'm not overly fond of, like I'm pointing one finger that way, but there's one, two,
Right.
three still pointing it back at me. So this is the chapter I'm in now, is
Okay.
making sure I'm good so I can be good for others.
Well,
And
I really appreciate that level of transparency, and I can see why your people are so devoted to you. One of the things about being that open and vulnerable with people, especially people that you see on a regular basis, is that gives them a permission structure to do the
Yeah.
same, and also lets them know there's a kindred spirit who's maybe a little further down the line handling all that stuff in a constructive, positive way. So thank you so much for participating in this, and it was so great to get to know you. And I have to say that the interview went exactly as I expected based on what you put out there on social media. Just such great stuff, and you're right, there are far more people who are far more positively affected than you could possibly that you could possibly uh,
Fathom. Yeah, it's
be
really,
aware of and
and every day
acknowledge,
they reach
and
out to
that's
me,
the
new
you're
ones.
right,
Yeah.
and that's the nature of the further reach. So
Yes. Yes.
great, great stuff. Thank you so much, and I
Thank you.
will let you know how you can disperse this when I
Okay.
get edited down. Okay. All right,
All right,
thanks so
great.
much.
Thank you.
Take
Talk to you
care. Have a
later.
great day.